Cuellar, Councilman Box, Councilman Sims, and myself present. Mayor, you have the floor.
Okay. Yes, I would like to thank Chris Metcalf for being here. I was going to thank everybody else who was here, but Chris is the only one that decided to come and to be able to hear us deliberate, or for me to be able to share where we are financially through the first 5 months of the year. This report, or the reports that Lee will give you, will run through February 28th. There's still some tweaking that we will have to do to it on the revenue side. So Lee, if you would pass those reports out, I won't get started until you. Thought you were another one of our citizens. So what, Jill? Oh, yes. Okay, everybody has the reports. If you would pick up the one that says City of Irondale budget report, starts with Fund 1. And that's the general fund. So everybody had an opportunity to pick up that report.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to go through the report in detail because we'll be here all night. But I do want you to go through it its entirety when you have time to be able to go through it and just to look at the line items that we have, or look at the variances, or see where we are in certain areas. I have identified some of the areas. I've met with all of the departments to walk them through the first 5 months and to see if they needed for us to make any adjustments to their current budgets. Most of them needed adjustments, not a lot of adjustments. I would say Public Works and the 4 other departments had the most adjustments that we needed to make. I shared with them when we created the budget, we realized that there's not a perfect budget instrument that's out there, but we would try our best to get close to what the needs are for the departments, and that we would revisit it in March to be able to determine if we needed to allocate any more resources for some of those expenses. Through February, and I would like to give this disclaimer, all of the revenue still hasn't been reported for February, which comes in January, because that money only comes in, or the deadline for that money is February the 20th. So it takes some time, probably by the middle of the month, everything has been reported, everything has been put in its proper place. And there are other revenues that run behind, like court fines and fees. We don't put those in place until the month is actually ended, so you won't see anything on that line item. Garbage is the same way, because we have a different billing cycle for water that doesn't coincide with the end of the month, so you won't see that figure in there. And there's also some sales and use tax that comes through ACH reporting, and it comes in towards the February the 20th or a little bit after that. So we'll still have some additional revenue that will add to this particular budget. And once we get all that information in, I'll make sure that I send you a completed budget, and even put a disclaimer on it to let you know that this is the complete budget for the month of February. But I wanted to give you a snapshot of where we are and how things look so far. To begin with, our revenue through February 28th, 2022 is $13,246,542.72. Our expenditures are $9,975,498.81 for a surplus of $3,271,043.91. If you look at your report, turn on page 2, and it will give you the revenue total, which is $13,246,542.72. And if you look on page 10 or 11, look under the column that says fiscal activity, and you'll see the actual surplus through February. Then I have to manually take the surplus and subtract it from the revenue. That gives us the expenses of $9,975,498.81. Or if you look on page 8 under fiscal activity, it'll give you that same amount, the $9,975,498.81. And you will also see the surplus, the calculation for the surplus as well. On the revenue side, we've done very well so far this year. We've collected 102% of our property tax for this year. We budgeted $1,245,863.28. Through February, we've collected $1,280,246.07. That's on the first page. So if you need to turn over to the first page, that's where we are with that. Percent remaining. Always do it the other way. Okay, so that means 42%. Let me see. Hold on for 1 second. I think that's 5 going to 12. I think it's 42%. Basically 42% of the percentage used, or 50. Yeah. So these percentages are actually with what is remaining, but I usually run it the way that says that it's used, so you'll know how much you've actually used through the particular month instead of having to backtrack to do a percentage to figure out what that is. But I would say that we are on track with our biggest line item, which is sales and use tax. So far, we've collected $5,397,334.36. And I would say that the increase for the car dealerships is not included in this amount. The reason that is not included in this amount is because when we had the change in city clerks, you have to send the information into the state of Alabama 2 months before you get ready to enact the tax. So the tax actually started this month in February. So you'll see March sales and use tax. You'll get a chance to be able to see what that 0.5% of increase look like. Which means that we're doing very well if this is based on the regular sales tax that we had in place before we enacted those increases. Also, if you look at business licenses, you will see that we've passed those projections as well. We budgeted $1,920,000, but we've collected $2,139,257.33. We have not received our share of the American Rescue Plan Revenue Fund, but that's another $1.5 million that's sitting out there that we will have access to probably by the next time we have our next council meeting. And I'm just hitting the highlights, you all. That's why I'm just hitting the
Mayor Stewart,
the
when
big-
you were
the
talking
big
about
points.
the 1.5% to 2% increase,
Mm-hmm.
is that under the auto sales tax and not the sales and use tax?
No, it's up under the sales and use
Okay.
tax. The
Just wanted to make
auto
sure.
tax, it comes from the county. So that is
Okay.
a separate tax that
Very
comes
good.
from the county.
Thank you.
So I'm looking for us to really to surpass this $13 million mark, because we'll have almost, 6-8 months of revenue from the car dealerships based on an extra 0.5 percentage point. That wasn't, like I said, in the first 4 months or 5 months of our revenue streams, or calculating our revenue streams. Like I said, the garbage collection fees are still not in there. I guess I can talk about that as I'm going down the report. There were some complaints about we raised the rates by $5. We went from 20 to 25. Well, since we've gone from 20 to 25, the rates for us to go to the dump has increased from $26 to $52. Will we pass this on to our citizens the way that normal business will do it? As people will tell me, you need to run your municipality like a business. In a business, I think you would pass that cost on to your customers. However, as a city, we won't pass that cost on to our citizens. We've already increased it. We'll live with the $5 that we increased the rate by. But I just wanted to let everybody know that complained about the $5. If we would have waited 3 more months to be able to see that it was going from 26 to 52, it could have been worse than what it is right now. So I would say count your blessings one by one that we didn't get that information before we increased the rates. Do anybody have any questions or anything about the revenue that we have for the city of Irondale through the first 5 months?
So the property taxes, everyone's due October 1st, late by December 31st, goes to the county. How long does it take the county to get that to the city?
The county send 2 distributions per month. They send it on the 10th and the 20th of the month.
So the bulk has already come, what's left is just people who are late, and then,
Yes, we'll have some to trickle in until they have the auction, and they usually have the auction in May. So we'll have, it won't be anything of significance. Yeah, it won't be 20 and 30, 40,000. It may be 5 here, 6 here, 1,000 here, or whatever. But those will be the delinquent taxes that people will pay after the 31st of December.
So, Mayor, you said on the court police fines that there's still more funds that have to be captured into the figure that's on here?
No, I was saying, well, yes, that if you look for monthly activity, there's a 0 there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because we don't enter February's information until we reconcile it in March.
Yeah, so I would say at the rate we're going there, we're not going to make the budgeted amount for that.
It will probably be one of the things that you'll see as an adjustment when we get ready to make some of the adjustments. Police officers municipal court is driven by the amount of tickets that are written by police officers. And I don't want anybody to mistake this, but we don't have quotas, so we don't encourage them to go out and write speed tickets. We just encourage them to.
The good news of that would be that hopefully people are driving safer and slowing down.
Yes, I hope I'm not throwing some shade on somebody, but we're not Brookside.
There you go.
So we're Irondale. We're not Brookside. We're not on that side of the county. So ever since the pandemic has taken place, the Court fines and fees has always been a little bit lower than expected. With COVID, police officers wasn't out, coming in contact with people as they were stopping them and all of those things. So that's why that line item is affected, by basically, I can truly say this line item is affected by COVID.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I know we blame a lot of things on COVID, but we can blame this line item on
I would
COVID.
rather see that not reach its targeted rates. So
Okay.
that, to me, that's an indication of people driving safely and our police officers being gracious. And
Okay. If you look at the occupational license fee, that's one of the things that we were going to discuss. We still don't have all of the activity in there for the period. Because we've been averaging, what would you say, Lee, $300,000 to $350,000 basically a month with the occupational license fee. I'm quite sure we would hit the 3 million because the 3 million was based on a 0.25% reduction at the beginning of the fiscal year. So we will definitely have more than the 3 million in there because it was based on going into the year at 0.75 instead of being at 0.1. The question that I would like to ask the council, because you all asked me to wait until we had an opportunity to go to the financial report, and I've shared it with any business or whatever that has asked me about this, particular fee. I never call it a tax because it's not a tax, it's a fee to be able to work in the city of Irondale. What direction would you all like to proceed in for the rest of the fiscal year? Would you like to reduce it by the 1/4, or do you want to wait to the end of this fiscal year, and address it in 23?
And looking at the figures, I'm fine with reducing it because this is based on the 0.75 and not the 1%. And we're definitely going to reach that.
Yes.
So, I know that several businesses were very upset when it was passed, as well as the employees. And this demonstrates that we are willing to look at this and take it in phases.
Right.
So from that standpoint, looking at it, I'm certainly in favor of it.
Okay. And also, I would just like to say, for those that are in the listening audience as well that may be out there on Facebook, building a brighter future for Irondale has nothing to do with the decision to determine if this is going to happen. Those are two separate events. So we didn't put that out there to be able to replace the 1/4% because it's not going into the general fund to be able to deal with the regular expenses anyway. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there that those are two separate events. They're not dependent upon each other because when we created this at the beginning of the year, we created it collecting only 0.75 anyway. So anything over that is just extra to be able to do some other things throughout the city.
I agree with Councilor Cuellar. We're 41.6% through the year. We're above that. You said there was even stuff that wasn't even
It's
in
probably
yet.
another $100,000 that's
So-
sitting out there that hadn't been recorded.
So I would support going ahead and reducing it by a quarter.
Okay. Councilman Box?
I never like decreasing revenue, so I would be for waiting to 2023 and addressing it then.
Okay.
Just so, don't change the horse in midstream then.
Okay. Councilman London? Council President?
What Box and London are saying, especially with, seeing how March 22nd turns out.
Okay. So, it's
Realizing they don't have anything to do with each
Right,
other,
yeah,
but still.
March 22nd doesn't have anything to do with the
Okay.
general fund.
But to me, it's the message it sends because the lay people, or like myself, we don't see that it doesn't have anything to do with the other. We simply say, you're reducing a tax here, but you're wanting me to vote to increase a tax there.
No, you're a professional, Robert. You're no longer a layperson.
The optics to me are not.
Okay. Well, we don't, this is just I'm just taking the temperature of the council. 3 say no, 2 say yes. I won't bring a resolution
I mean, I just
to,
wanna, I mean.
you
when
know,
we passed
for the
budget-
council to be able to do it, because it doesn't seem like it would pass anyway. It'd just be more of a symbolic measure.
As we move into maybe the third quarter.
Yeah.
And we continue, the trend continues, I would be open to it.
So you all want to say 3 months from now, you all will revisit it
The
again?
reason that I'm saying what I'm saying is because I'm aware of the fact that there is a bill right now before the legislature, and it may do away with it completely. And so I'm wanting us to live within our means and start getting used to this, because we need to do this. We're talking about the general fund. We're not talking about capital improvements, which is what the referendum is all about. None of that money from the referendum would go into the general fund. It's a means of educating our residents and letting them know and make that distinction. But there is that possibility, and this is why I'm saying we need to do this in anticipation of that coming down, because it is very likely that it will.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. There's a bill in the House right
22,
now.
My memory serves me right.
This is the second year where there's been a representative from the state that has offered up a bill to eliminate the occupational tax, which would still do away with our fee. The League of Municipalities is against it, and they are lobbying against it. But eventually, when somebody keeps bringing something to the floor over and over and over again, eventually it gets traction. And I think the way that they want to set it up is that if they were to eliminate it, you basically have to wean yourself off of it. They got it set up to phase out over a period of time.
Phases.
Basically what we're doing right now. But I just want to make sure when we leave, if that's what we will agree to is to revisit in 3 months, then I would like for us to have the same message when we're communicating to people, so we're not giving conflicting information to the public.
But right now, you're saying we collecting at 75%?
Well, we're collecting at 1%, but our projections is based on 0.75.
Yeah, this information's based on .75.
I still, like I said, I don't like changing in horses in midstream.
Okay.
Let's visit it for 2023.
All right.
That's
Well,
my opinion.
I will move on to the next item. As I stated, I feel that we are doing extremely well this fiscal year. At this point in time, to be able to have a surplus of over $3.3 million, we've actually probably paid at least 80 to 90% of whatever bond debt that we have that are out there. So there are no big looming payments that are sitting out there that should put a dent into where we are right now. We should get pretty close to the budget that you all projected that we would have for the fiscal year. We will have one little issue there. When we refunded the bonds,
Right,
we actually put the $1 million
I saw that.
in the budget for revenue this year, but that money won't be there because it's going to be able to pay down the debt. So when we make the adjustments, that will be one of the bigger adjustments that we'll make, is to be able to remove that $1 million out of this operating plan, because the money is not there. It went to pay down debt, which is good. I'm glad it went to go to be able to pay down debt. And I would like to share with our audience, since you all have been in office, we have not incurred any new debt. So we don't, our debt is going down at the rate of $3 million a year. I'm quite sure you all will be able to see that once we present our audit, that the City of Irondale debt is decreasing and is not increasing.
Yeah, and in looking at the figures, Mayor Stewart, even without that $1 million, the sales tax usage is very good, and we have the business licenses that are doing extremely well, more than what we projected, and I've noticed another one that really is doing very well. business license, and then our, the
Yeah.
building construction is going very well. So, I mean, those are positives, and so even though that million is not there, it's still positive.
Yes, yes. And like I said, the increase on automobiles hadn't even jumped in yet, so we still got 8 months to collect that as well. We will probably still make up that million even in spite of removing that million, which we had a projected surplus over $5 million. I don't think a lot of municipalities can compete with us with having a surplus of $5 million. So I want to commend you all for the job that you all are doing as being good stewards of the resources that we have here at the city. If I do not have any other questions about the general fund, I'll move to the next report, which is for the water department. And really, this activity is through January. You will see that the revenue hasn't been recorded for the month of February. But even without the revenue not being recorded for the month of February, we still have a surplus of over $280,053.74. The increase is also, was it Jared, when did the increase start? And no, it didn't start in October.
No, I think it started in January.
Okay. So we went like 3 months without the increase that we had proposed for the water department as well. But once we put the numbers in for February, I'll send you all another report. But I just wanted to give you an idea. Those are, the general fund and the water department is the two biggest the areas where when you look at all of our other funds where we're spending money. So we are, Jared and the group is doing a good job over there in the water department, and hopefully we will get that stimulus money that came out of the infrastructure bill. If you all remember, we went ahead and applied for the whole $8 million since they were giving us those funds. They then, after we submitted our application, they asked us if we wanted to look at it and maybe reduce it. Jared felt very comfortable with the numbers that we had, so he told them that we weren't going to reduce it. We'll just ride or die and let it. We'll just go with what we have out there. So we still have the $8 million, on the table to be able to receive those funds, which will allow us to be able to do all of the capital improvements that was pitched to the council, and hopefully it may not even cost us a dime to be able to do it. Any questions about the water department? And also, we did freeze all late fees until we get the banking situation straightened out. So if anybody call you about late fees or whatever, just tell them to, I've already sent a memo to the water department, to Suzanne, so she knows to be able to correct that issue for if anybody end up with any late fees.
When do we anticipate having that adjustment made?
We are currently switching everything over to Truist. It'll probably take us, since it's dealing with the lockbox, it will probably take a couple of months to get all of that switched over, lockbox, get the address out for people. And then I decided even after we get everything switched over, we'll give people 30 days of grace after that, so they still won't be able to blame it on the bank. And hopefully they'll stop blaming it on the post office as well. I used to work at the post office. Ken worked at the post office, and we worked in mail processing. And we get kind of offended when everybody say when stuff don't show up on time, it was the post office. Yeah, we worked in there when post office people were post office people. Yeah, my father did 42 years. I did 12. I think Cam did 15. I had another cousin to do about 40. So we're kind of like a postal family. But the post office is a good place to work, and they do their job. So I guess I'll just put that pitch out for them. But any other questions about water? I guess the last thing is.
Well, we'll clarify the question.
Okay.
So the stubs that we have right now, those are still going to the old lockbox?
No, it's going to the lockbox when the bank switched from BBVA to PNC.
Gotcha. So there was or was not a change in the address?
It was a change in the
There
address.
was a change in address? Okay, because I'm sending my payments out through my online banking,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm noticing an issue with that, so.
Yes, you have to, it's a new address and it should be going to the lockbox for PNC Bank is in Atlanta.
Okay.
And when we switch to Truist, it's gonna be in Atlanta, but it should be a new PO box.
So any funds that went to the old lockbox, or they just,
Eventually
they'll
they'll get it to where it needs to go. But
They did not notify us of the change of address, so that's why it was a lot of.
Confusion.
We didn't get payments for a couple of weeks and.
yeah, so they didn't know in the beginning not to charge people late fees because they did not know that it was going to the wrong place.
so if you use online banking, update the address ASAP.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, if there's no questions about the water department, if you look at the American Rescue Plan, we wanted to print your report to show you how the first $1.5 million has been spent so far. And we just grouped them. We have details, but we just grouped them into these three items here. The employee payout in December was $250,700. The vaccine and the small business, we've actually awarded $57,907.90, and we spent $393,110.97 on water supplies for the Bend. We still have $829,209.85 in that account, and we expect within the next few months to get another $1,530,928.72.
Can you break down the small business grants? You know, how much specifically?
It's broken down. I just didn't want
I
to.
was just curious if you know. I mean, I'm assuming a majority of that was small business.
Yes, I think we had, what was it, Lee, about 20 people that did the vaccine, maybe. So we had 19 people to do the vaccine at $200, so that's what, 3,800? And so the rest of it, you could probably account that to small business. And the community is very appreciative of it. I went into a business yesterday, and they wanted to thank the city and the council for setting those funds aside and basically shared with me that helped them to be able to make it through the pandemic. So people are benefiting from receiving these funds. Okay. I did want to let everybody know how much money we have in the bank. Anybody want to take a guess of how much money we have in the bank? I mean, y'all got the report. Okay, well, y'all messed up my deal then. Well, anyway, the people out in the audience don't know. Do you all want to take a guess at how much money we got in the bank? You get something free. You got a prize. 31 million? 22 million? 13. Don, you putting us in the poorhouse. The actual amount that we have in the bank, I didn't break it out for you for restricted and unrestricted, but I will break it out for you for that. I just didn't have the time to be able to do it because I ran this as of today, is $24,828,904.38. Now, even with this balance here, think about it. We don't have the American Rescue money in here, and we spent almost $2 million in roads, but we still have close to $25 million in the bank.
What's restricted and unrestricted? What are those amounts?
I just said I'll have to break that down. I didn't break it down.
Okay.
To what you have now is just the whole ledger, basically all the accounts that we have. But I'll group them by tomorrow, and I'll send it to you to show you the breakdown of what's restricted and what's unrestricted. So we're doing pretty well with that. And the last thing is, well, anybody have any questions about, I guess, our banking accounts? we will, like stated, will be within a couple of months, all of this will be at Truist Bank. We're currently at PNC. So for those who believe that the city has been spending water like a fire hose for the first 17 months, I mean, if you look at the data that we have right here, I'm assuming that we haven't been doing what some have assumed that we've been doing with the city funds. So again, I want to thank you all for the job that you all have been able to do for the first 5 months of the year. And the last sheet that you have
I
is,
did have one question.
okay,
On the
Cindy.
general fund reserve,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we've got in reserves right now, 7.6?
Yes.
Good, thank you.
And also, you see the one that's up under that that says Emergency Stabilization Fund? That fund is tied to that fund as well.
Okay.
That was a fund that was established by the council when I was on the council, and that fund can't be touched unless the council vote to say you want to touch it and where you want to be able to direct those funds to. It was created for when we would be dealing in the time of having to deal with basically COVID. It could have been a fund that we could have used if our revenues would have dipped and we needed to transfer something into the general fund. That's what this fund was for. Once I give you all the restricted balances, unrestricted and restricted, I would still like to move some of the money that we have in the general fund over to our reserve fund. Because we only need about, if we have 3 months of revenue in the general fund account, I mean, if we got $3.5 million to $4 million, and if we don't bring in another dollar, that should help us to pay all of our bills, which we know we're going to bring in some additional money. But we can move that excess over to the general fund reserve to help to keep building a solid foundation in our general fund. But I'll bring that to you all once we get all the balances and everything squared away. And the last thing, I'll just ask you to look at the sheet. This last sheet that I'm giving to you is when I met with each department, and these are some of the adjustments that they are requesting for the rest of the fiscal year. I still have to go through admin and put theirs in there, and I also have to make some for revenue. The goal is to be able to have this something in front of you because I will be absent on the March 15th meeting. But I'll be back in April, so hopefully when we have our first meeting in April, we'll have all the adjustments in place. I would have had conversations with the council individually or collectively if you have questions about anything, and then we can go ahead and get Lee to create the budget that has the adjustments to it so we can live off that for another 3 months. Is everybody okay with that? Well, I do not have anything else to present to you all tonight. Do you have any questions that you would like to ask, or if there is anybody in the audience that has any questions that you would like to ask about the city finances? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Now, I want you all to go home and blast me on Facebook, so just blast me now. I'm right here. I take it like a big boy. So. Well, I take it since there are no questions, that everything is going well, and you all would like for us to continue to do the job that we're doing here in the city. I want to be able to thank the staff that we have here. I'm really blessed to be able to have a great group of people to be able to work with that really loves the city. Probably love it as much as I do. I know Brad has been here for, Brad, you've been here since the city been created? Okay, so he been here since the creation of the city, and he lives in the city as well. But wouldn't be able to do the job that I'm presenting to you all tonight if it wasn't for having, like I said, just have a great department of people to work with. And everybody can't say that they go to work and they really enjoy working with the people that they work with. I mean, we really enjoy working with each other. I mean, whenever your employees, and we call it the principal office, whenever they come to the principal office to visit and they're not called to come to the principal's office, I mean, I think we have a pretty good relationship. And Lee loves to scare them because when I asked her to call them, I said, "Did you tell them what I wanted to talk to them about?" "No, I just thought I'll tell them you want to see them in the office." So I'm sorry, Lee, for ratting you out, but we got some extra time, so I'm just trying to make it entertaining until we get close to 6 o'clock. But if we don't have any other questions, thank you all for coming. Email me anytime if you have any questions about anything that's going on. Same thing to the council. If it's something that hit you later on tonight, you think about it, you can send me an email. Make sure you CC Lee, and we'll try to get back with you in a timely manner. Thank you all so much.
That concludes our finance meeting. We'll gather at 6 o'clock.
with you. And if you have family, I know the principal is back here. You all want to come up and get a pic after we get our pic?
There we go. Got it.
All right, family. This is the best time to be the mayor, when you take pictures. All right, thank you. And our last winner is Justin Rodriguez, who's in the 5th grade at Irondale Community School. Justin, did you write or draw? Oh, so you overachieved. You overachieved. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I know you want this more than you want that certificate. So I just want to present you with this flyer here. Hope you enjoy it and don't stay on it too long. And their artwork is on display on the wall outside of the council chambers. So before you all leave today or tonight, please walk down that area to be able to see the wonderful work that those kids have done. I know when I was in the 3rd or 4th grade, I wasn't thinking about doing anything like this. So I just want to thank them again, and I look forward to them participating in the 3rd annual Black History Art Project next February. Okay, Council President, I'll run through these announcements pretty quickly. We've already given the winners, announced the winners for the 2nd annual Black History Art Project. Good thing, good trouble. On Saturday, we're having a shredded day out in front of City Hall. Whatever documents you have that you would like to shred, you can bring them to City Hall between 9 and 12. We'll have the truck out front, and you can shred those documents. It's absolutely free. So go home tonight, collect all your stuff, documents that you've been holding on for a long time that you didn't want to throw in the trash can, but you can bring them down to City Hall from 9 to 12 on Saturday, and you can have them shredded absolutely free. On March the 10th, we are having a coffee with the mayor at 10 a.m. In the mayor's office. On March the 17th, Thursday, at Shades Valley High School, we're having a Brighter Future for Irondale Town Hall meeting. So if you want to learn more about the proposed increase in millage on your property, please come to that town hall meeting, and hopefully you'll be able to receive answers to your questions. If you don't want to come to the event, but you still want to go to a place where you can find all of the information, we have a website that's called iloveirondale.com. You can go to iloveirondale.com, find out anything that you want to about the upcoming election. If you're concerned about how much the increase is going to cost you, we have a calculator on there so you can put your own personal information in, and you don't have to wait for somebody to give you miscalculations on Facebook or any other social media site. You can go directly to iloveirondale.com and put in your assessed value, and it'll tell you exactly what the increase will be for your property. Again, that is iloveirondale.com. Also, we're having the election on March the 22nd, so I expect everybody that's sitting in this room to be here between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and I already know that you all are going to vote yes. So I look forward to seeing you all on the 22nd to come in to be able to participate in that election. And then on March the 23rd, we will have the second graduating class for the Citizen Engagement Institute. I would encourage everyone, if you didn't make it into this institute, we will have another one in September. It's a 5-week course that teaches how to be able to maneuver through municipal government. So if you want to know about public works, water, senior activity center, courts, you can come to this institute, and every week we talk about one of those particular subjects. This week we're going to talk about budgeting. We're going to give the class $28 million. They got 12 departments, and they got to figure out how to be able to allocate those funds over those departments, because that's the same thing that we do here at City Hall. So if you want to know about city government, more about city government, if you want to be able to participate in the process, if you would like to serve and be more engaged, I would encourage you to look out for the next class that we're going to have in September of 22. I believe that's all that I have for tonight, Council President, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this information with our audience.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. At this point, we'll be looking for any reports from any of our department heads that we have with us this evening. Fair enough. Next, we would be looking for council member reports. I'll start with myself first. The only thing I really want to bring up is the Exchange Club will have their next meeting March 8th at 11:30. The guest speaker will be Joe Knight from the Jefferson County Commission. If you're interested, I've got the flyer up here if you want to reference it later, but you can contact the club secretary at 205-541-2396 by Monday, March 7th to reserve your meal. Other than that, looking forward to the continued work in Roebuck Plaza with debris removal, the ongoing paving with the bend. Very excited about some of the new water lines that are coming through the bend and getting some of those roads repaved. So just very happy to see the progress in the community around our infrastructure improvements. Councilman Sims.
Thank you everyone for being here tonight. Holiday Gardens Neighborhood Association at 6:30 next Tuesday, March the 8th at the Senior Activity Center. And actually I have one question for the mayor. I saw a banner on the way in about, I think, court amnesty.
Yes, if you have any outstanding warrants, you can come on the 10th of March. I think they have 2 sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, and they will help you to eradicate that issue.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Councilman Box.
He said good evening, I say good evening. What a great turnout. Just appreciate all you guys coming here getting involved. We all are looking at different issues, but working together and everybody having a voice together is what really is going to make this work. Helps the mayor know which directions to go, helps us listen to you more individually, so I'm excited about it. Mountain Lake Estates neighborhood is actually going to have a meeting March the 11th. It will be virtual. I will find out if that will be open to the public or not, since it's a private community, but the mayor will be attending with us on that. We have some more interest from Hampton Place on trying to develop their own neighborhood association or HOA and reactivate that. And my Heritage folks are doing a great job of staying in contact and staying engaged, so loving to see that. With that, that's all I have.
Okay. Councilman Cuellar.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here, echoing all the comments. Wonderful turnout tonight. We had a previous meeting here, the Finance Committee meeting. Happy to report that the numbers look very, very good. Our city's in good shape. And I'd also like to report that I received some information from the Friends of the Library, giving great kudos to our library. The folks there, Dale and Michelle, have been doing a great job with several programs. And one of the programs that I was very impressed with was the program they had that's called a Winter Read 2022. It was really a big success. Their goal was to have 500 books read, but they surpassed that with 874 books that were read. And if you have any children that are interested in this, this was an all-time high. The books are easy for reading. You log in through Beanstalk. And I want to thank the library staff for coordinating this program. And I also like to note that the use of the Beanstalk provides the benefits to the library. One final note on the Friends of the Library, their website has been updated with more current information, so please take a look at it. It's on Facebook on the city's website, but they're also on Facebook.com /Irondale PL Friends. PL means Public Library Friends. So do take a look at their website. And lastly, they're going to be having a monthly meeting this Thursday at 6 o'clock in the Public Library's meeting room. So if anyone's interested in learning more about the Friends of the Library, please stop by and learn more and find out ways in which you can get involved with them. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman London.
Thank you, Council President. First of all, again, good evening to everyone. Just a few announcements. Noticing on Grants Mill and O'Lee's, trees are going down. Some progress has been happening over there. So I just want to encourage you to be patient, plan your trips, because there's going to come a time that you're not going to be able to go that way. So make sure you leave early enough where you have to be, and just be patient. Just be patient with the workers out there. Don't be speeding through. Just think about that they're your family members. So, but I'm so excited that work is beginning to get done over there. So we're excited about that. The grocery store, I mean, you know, I'm the bulldozer guy. Everybody know who I am. I don't get excited about anything until I see some dirt moving. So we're so excited to see that dirt moving over there. I forgot to announce this last time, but and the mayor and the city and the police officer went by and saw Miss Lola Dunn. She's in my district, 104 years old. Had a birthday, and I missed the parade they had for her, so I went by personally and bought a cake. It was Valentine, bought her a strawberry cake, and we went by and I had my own birthday celebration with her. But I told her this is the second time I've seen someone that turned 104. I had an uncle who was 107 when he passed, and it was so blessing to see her at 104 years old with all the energy that she has. So we're excited about that. But also, I want to challenge you also. There may be some other people, or guy, female, in the neighborhood, or in the community, that may be 100 years old. If it is, please let me know. Please let me know, because I would love to take a piece of cake by and celebrate their birthday with me. That's something I always did. And when she turned 100, I took a big cake to the senior citizen and shared it with all the senior citizens. So if there's anybody in Irondale that you know that's 100 years old, please let me know so I can go by and visit with those. You know, one thing my parents always taught me, they always taught me to respect my elders and celebrate my elders. And so that's one of the things that I would love to do with them. Next, our little libraries are here. We ordered 3 of them. And what we're going to do with that, Shays Valley High School, we're going to get some students involved with that to put those libraries up. So we just want to get our kids involved, our children involved with the city. And so we met with the principal up there at the high school, and so we're going to plan a time to put those libraries in the community. We're going to put one at Stone Ridge, one in Rock Ridge, and then also one in Beacon Park. And so the students at the Shays Valley is going to be the one to put those up. But they're here, so we're excited about that. And then the last thing, March 22nd. March 22nd. March 22nd. March the 22nd. Did y'all hear me say that enough? March the 22nd. Please come out. Please come out and vote on March 22nd. And don't just vote, vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we'd be looking for any reports of board or non-council committees. Yes, sir. And John, I saw your flyer up here, so I thought that was an unspoken to cover it, so I went ahead and talked about your next meeting. Please feel free to reiterate it, just in case I missed something.
I'm John Schoen with the Exchange Club, and we've had several kind of exciting things going on in our meetings here of late. We had the Motorsports Museum just alongside us over here came out and speak to us, and they got a lot of great things going on out there. If you have an opportunity to participate, I think you'd be kind of amazed. It's the largest motorcycle museum in the world, among other things. Our next meeting is going to be March the 8th, and Speaker Joe Knight, our commissioner, will be talking to us at 11:30. So anybody would like to come or welcome, we meet over at the Jubilee Ministry Building, just on the other side. And/or give a phone call to 205-956-5875. We do serve a meal, but you're not required to eat. But if you want to, you got to give us a call first. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other boards or non-council committees this evening? All right, fair enough. We originally had 3 public hearings planned for the evening. The third public hearing, which involved the Heritage Place property, that was asked to be removed by the presenter. So that third public hearing will not be occurring this evening, and therefore, item number 13 on the agenda is also off of that agenda. So I understand there were some other comments to be, some other comments that might need to be saved for later, once we get to non-agenda items, about some of the proposed use or some of the desired use for some of that property around there. That being said, I would accept a motion to go into public hearing.
Motion to go into public hearing?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The City Council of the City of Irondale will hear comments from interested citizens concerning the City Council's proposed concurrence of the approval of the amended preliminary plat plan and review of the amended special use plan for permits by the Irondale Planning and Zoning Commission for the property located at 2000 Crestwood Boulevard, Irondale, Alabama, 35210. Do we have anybody to present this? Yes, sir.
Hey, Councilors, Mr. President, and ladies and gentlemen of the council, and Mr. Mayor, my name is Martin Evans. My address is 2001 Park Place North, Suite 540, Birmingham, Alabama, 35203. We're here tonight to seek development plan approval for the previously approved racetrack development at the corner of Crestwood Boulevard and 20th Street. And we went through rezoning a couple of years ago, but have tweaked our development plan a little bit. And I know we've got a big agenda, so I'll be quick. But we are making a multi-million-dollar investment in this new site. We're coming in. We're not asking for any sort of incentives or anything like that. I know that's probably a rarity in these days. A lot of companies that are making that type of investment would ask that of the city, but Racetrack's not doing that. And we really think that our new development will be a catalyst for redevelopment of the corridor, and so we're very excited about being here. We're here really because we've tweaked our site plan, and the majority of the changes, or the only real changes, are that our building has been shifted more towards the middle, and then we've created a separate diesel canopy to the side. And I think there were some concerns from people about whether that would be a truck stop because of the separate diesel canopy, and I want to ensure everybody that that's not the case. Well, the purpose of us creating a separate diesel canopy is for maneuverability for vehicles and to separate, you know, your soccer mom vans and your people who are driving smaller cars like myself from people who have got diesel trucks and work trucks and trailers and that sort of thing. And so it's all about maneuverability. The size of the building will be exactly the same. There will not be showers. There will not be any of those types of, there won't be parking for trucks or anything like that. Any of those normal characteristics of a truck stop. Racetrack has a truck stop model, and this site is way too small to do anything like that on this property. We went to the Planning Commission, and there was no opposition there. We received unanimous approval, so we're here tonight to ask for y'all's approval as well. And I've got my engineer here, Bill Wilson, and then a representative from Racetrack, Victor Sudapaha, also, and so they can answer any questions that you may have. So thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London, any questions for the
No
gentleman?
questions.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions, he answered them all.
Perfect. Councilman Box? Okay. Councilman Sims? Okay. And myself, none either. We'll go ahead and move into some public comments on this. Looking for any public comments to the council for the redesigned plat on this. Anybody for the redesigned plat? Okay. Anybody against the redesigned plat? No one for or against? At this moment, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I am strongly opposed to that. We spoke out against this 2 years ago, made some sound arguments for that. That piece of property is a gateway to Old Irondale, to a quaint, charming little town. We do not need another gas station. We cannot compete against Buc-ee's. We cannot compete against the others. Unless it is an EV charging station, we're not gonna be able to compete with all of that stuff. Crestwood Boulevard is full of gas stations. I think we'll be making a huge mistake by giving up that piece of property.
Understood, thank you. Anybody else against the redesigning? Were you, are against it, sir? You were standing up. Okay. We've kind of closed the floor comments, but I'll go ahead and I'll let it go if there's something unique that you have to say. If you could just give your name and address for the record, sir.
Yeah, Michael Gergold, 4049 Hickory Circle. I haven't seen the plat, but since Amazon is here, they've got a contract with the, I don't know what it is right there, I can't think of it, but they've got, I always try to go in and get diesel, and I've got a trailer. A lot of Amazon trucks in one little area, so perhaps maybe we do need another gas station, even though there are a lot of them, and I realize that. So I just wanted to point that out, that with Amazon here, a lot more influx of Sprinter vans, significant lot of gas, tax, revenue, perhaps, I don't know, but that's it.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments around this redesign plat? At this time, I'll take a motion to leave this public hearing.
Motion to leave public hearing.
Second.
Motion to leave. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. For, yes, sir.
Before you go to the next public hearing, I know that this is new, you know, for everybody, because everybody's still coming and standing on the opposite side of the microphone. When you come up to speak, if you would come around and get in front of the podium and speak through the microphone so the audience can see you and the council can see you, we really would appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. We have one more public hearing in front of us. Motion to go into public hearing.
Motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the City Council of the City of Irondale will hear comments from interested citizens for a change of zoning from R2 Residential District and C1 Commercial District to an Institutional 2, INST 2 Institutional District for the property located at 2444 Kelly Road, 956 Grants Mill Road, and 960 Grants Mill Road, Irondale, Alabama 35210, for the use of residential homes for the aged. Do we have anyone to present this item? Yes, ma'am. I know we have some things in our packet, but I'm not sure what you have.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Wilkinson, 281 Magnolia Drive, Dadeville, Alabama. I am representing, thank you, sorry, excuse me, apologize, I didn't say thank you to everybody for being here tonight. Thank you, council persons and mayor, for letting us present this project. I am the developer and a co-owner of Abington Summit Point. Abington Summit Point is 52 apartments that we built in 2017, 2018, right off Grants Mill Road. We've got 52 senior apartments there and 1 and 2 bedrooms. Right now, we're looking to rezone the property directly across the street behind the shopping center, where we'd like to do a phase 2, which would be called Abington Highlands. Same exact, similar design. We're just going to move it across the street. This is on 3.38 acres. It will be for 62 and older residents, just like the first phase. Be 1 and 2 bedrooms, and 52 units will be in this property as well. This project will cost us around $18 to $20 million. Every month that goes by, it goes up about $100 grand. So in about 2 years, when we're ready to open, we'll probably be about a $20 million project. When we built Abington Summit Point in 2018, we opened right at COVID, 2020. We had, we leased up within 4 days, and we have almost 68 people on a waiting list right now. Again, we're only looking to build 52 units. We spoke with the local housing authority. Our apartments do not have Section 8. We are not a Section 8 property. We're affordable housing for seniors on fixed income. And they have over 800 people on their waiting list to date. I met with planning a couple months ago. It's already gone up to 200 more people since I had that meeting. There's also over 4,000 people in the same category who make 50 to 60% of the average income that also need housing. So that's what we target in our properties. People who make 50 to 60% of an average income in an area. Regarding construction, our construction company is owned by us, but we do hire local. We like to make sure we're using assets in the area. Regarding trades, we try and buy local, and we do, as we did with the first phase. And I believe everybody was very happy with that property so far. We did go through planning, and we did get a unanimous approval, so we're asking here again as well, if the council will please take into consideration the rezoning. And then, you want me to bring up the third piece of property? Okay. And I've got some bigger boards if anybody would like to look at it. But in my, on page 6 of my presentation, I have outlined the site plan. And in the site plan, it's just a typical building. We took Summit Point, moved it across the street. We will do a design charrette with local to make sure that it's the colors that you want to see, and it's also the design. But in the bottom corner, there's a part where the detention pond is. That is acreage that's owned by the city. And we're asking for the city to donate that land because we don't want them to be landlocked right there once we build our building. We would like to use that as green space, and we can use it as our detention pond. We like to make it look like a little park area. It's a nice little entrance as you're coming up the hill. Unfortunately, with phase 1, it was already cleared and we weren't able to save trees. We like to leave a buffer around what we've got and what we're going to build and around the neighbors that are going to be there as well. Also, if you flip back to page 5 of that plan, this is what our site plan will look like without the city's property. So we will move forward with it if we get our rezoning with or without the city's property, but we would love to have that donated because it helps us with our application for state housing of Alabama. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman London, any questions?
I think I was looking at it today on Kelly Road right there. That's the only piece, that's right next to Kelly Road, but nothing touches Kelly Road, right? Nothing touches Kelly Road. It's up higher right here. Okay. So nothing touches Kelly Road up there. Okay.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yeah, a couple of questions. Did you look at any other areas in Irondale?
We did,
To do
yes.
this?
Mhm. We did.
Did you find any others
We
that
did not.
might? Okay, because I'm certainly not against senior housing. As a matter of fact, I went to Abington Point
Oh, thank you.
and was very supportive of that,
Yes.
when you were doing this. But the problem that I'm having now is this area is commercial, and we're very limited in what we can do with commercial in Irondale, and I'm really not prone to give away some of that because we lose out on those opportunities. That is going to be, even now as we're going, as Publix gets built, as the other homes get built, more so, much more traffic, much more commercial opportunities. And that's why I'm not in favor of this. I support senior housing. I want to be clear on that, supported what you were doing there. It's just that I don't want to lose out on that opportunity for the city.
Right. So the reason we chose this property, in the state housing, Alabama Housing Finance gives you criteria you have to meet and be awarded to be able to build the affordable housing. As I stressed earlier, there's a huge need for that here, especially for seniors. If you do not, this particular property checks all the boxes. If you move me across the street, doesn't check the boxes this year. This is a census tract that scores very well. This is close enough to all the required services. If I go half a mile down the road, I'll lose my doctor's office, which is down by Walmart. So this particular property where it's located checks all the boxes to be awarded. We also have a grant that we're getting from Jefferson County because they gave us one for phase one. They're going to give us phase two. We also checked all their boxes to get an $800,000 grant from them to build this property. So that's why this particular property is ideal for this site, for this property.
You're working, is it with opportunity zones? Because we have several in Iredell.
Unfortunately, with affordable housing, it does not work. We've tried in multiple states and it does not work.
Thank you.
Thank
That's all
you.
the questions I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Box?
Yes, is this assisted living at all, or is it all independent?
It's
living?
all independent.
All independent living. And it is limited to just citizens that are over 62, or is there a possibility that some grandchildren will be living there?
No, sir.
Okay, so
62 plus is the required.
seniors only.
Mhm.
Okay,
And they have to qualify. You have to have good credit, you have to have some form of income, and you cannot have a criminal record to live in our properties.
Okay, very well. There's one other question, but it's kind of escaping me right now, so if it comes back up, I may call for you if that's okay. on the second
Okay,
round.
fair enough.
All right, thanks, sir.
Councilman Sims?
I agree with Councilor Guerra. I think, I don't know, giving up commercial is definitely, something I'm concerned with. I do think it's a great idea. I think we definitely need probably 6 of these nearby. I just don't know if I'm convinced that's the best place for the city. And I mean, it's basically the same issues that Councilor Guerra brought up is, I guess, my concerns as well. I understand it's tough to find the perfect property too, believe me. So, I'm definitely torn. But I think it's great. I think we want it here. I just, that specific location with it being commercially zoned, and I think that whole side of Grantsville will end up commercial. Bring in revenue at some point.
Yeah, my broker and I looked at every piece of property in your city. This is the only parcel that will ever be awarded in the next 5 to 10 years. If you choose to deny it tonight, you probably won't have another affordable housing project for that long. It will go into Jefferson County, probably closer to Birmingham, because they have the census tracts that score high. This is the only part of the census tract in your city that scores this year. And it's the same QAP every single year we have to follow. So if you deny tonight, you're going to deny next year, next year, next year. You won't have another affordable housing project for a very long
Is
time.
that the same track that your current was in?
Yes,
Have you looked at the acreage right behind it?
we did. It doesn't score. It's too far from the services. It's all down to how that wheel turns with mileage. Yeah, access was an issue too. This one has a curb cut already there on Grants Mill Road.
How much land
3.38 acres.
that you want this?
Public comments will come in just a moment. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Are you good, Aaron?
I'm good.
Okay. Councilman London?
Yeah, I had a question. Right now, from my understanding, this is zone residential right now.
Partially residential, partially
except for-
commercial, I believe.
Except for the small piece that we own at the bottom. That's the only commercial piece of this property. All these used to be houses.
Right.
This is all residential. And she's just trying to get it changed from residential to I. Am I correct? The only piece that's commercial there is the piece that she wants us to give to her on the
How
bottom.
large is that piece?
That's right there.
I'm not sure what's the acreage on that. I have no
It's right
idea.
on the side of the
Anybody know?
Grants Mill Road.
Well, she,
Yeah.
I'm maybe out of order on this, I apologize, but
Yeah.
do you know the size of the property that we own that they're asking for the donation?
I do not. Mayor, do you know the size of that piece of property? For the sake of the conversation?
That was my question.
It's less than an
Yeah.
acre.
Probably, well,
0.8 acre.
the realtor's there. Can you remember what?
0.88
I
acres.
can't read it. It's too right.
Yeah.
It's less than an acre.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
small.
It's less than.
And it will
Aaron's
be,
saying
it'll be
0.8.
landlocked
Okay.
because there's a ditch there. There's no way y'all can get to it once
Gotcha.
we build.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And that's the only piece, that's
One
the only
moment.
piece that's commercial. Everything else is residential right now. From that point all the way back Kelly Road, it's all that's commercial. I mean, residential. And she's just trying to get it changed from residential, not to commercial. She's not trying to get commercial land changed to I. She's trying to get residential changed to I.
I think the 2.71 acre parcel is commercial currently.
Right.
According to the-
Right.
You have
And
a,
that's the
you,
point. I mean, we
Right.
got the two
That's
point
correct.
seven one and the point
The
eight eight.
C1 and the R1, R2. Yeah,
So
she's trying to
this
get all
is
three properties.
Here is the retention, but all of this is C.
Right, no, I understand that. I think what Councilman London's point is the majority of the part that is going to be for the apartment complex is currently zoned R. I
Right.
think that's the point,
That's
Councilman
correct.
London. So the out parcel that would be that buffer for the
Correct.
detention pond and everything like that, that's the city's contribution that's currently zoned commercial.
Right.
Correct.
And it's-
Which would be landlocked,
Correct.
regardless. So, I mean, the C part, what we're doing tonight with the rezoning really doesn't have anything to do with the fact that we will or will not donate that property to you.
Correct.
That's right.
That's
We're
correct.
essentially dealing with.
That's right.
I mean, we're talking about the C,
Right.
but we're really dealing with the R.
That's
R1,
correct.
R2. That's
Okay.
correct. That is correct.
2.71 acres is,
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the city is a C two.
okay. Councilwoman Cuellar, did you have any follow-up questions on that?
Yeah, you noted that you wouldn't be able to do anything for the next 5 years or so. Are there any other organizations that do the type of work that you do?
No, ma'am.
You're the only game in town?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, ma'am. I thought you meant any other no, we get tax credits from the state housing, Alabama Housing Finance Authority. There are other developers, yes.
Okay.
But they all fall under the same rules that I fall under.
Okay.
It's a written plan that we follow.
Councilman Box, was your follow-up question answered?
Partially, but I guess I have a comment to it too. So if you're selling, there's 52 units you're saying there, so that's potentially 104 shoppers for future retail, for retail we already have existing. So I'm a little bit with Councilman Sims, I'm a little bit torn, but that seems to be a benefit to me.
Fair enough.
Especially shoppers that have had verified credit and not having any issues in that area.
How many one versus two bedrooms?
It's 50/50. It's just like phase one. And from my knowledge, y'all have not had any issues in the last 2 years we built phase one. It's a very high regarding customers that are there, or clients that are there. Everybody's been great. No issues.
And then just one point to point out, the grandkid that comes over and stuff is not allowed to stay through the
No,
evening.
that's correct.
You have visitor hours, and
Right.
if you're not a resident, you have to clear out by a certain time.
That's correct.
Okay, gotcha. Do we need a third round, or are we good?
Well, I just want to make sure they're clear that the only piece that we're talking about is the R1 and R2. We haven't given her anything with the C1.
Right.
We haven't decided on anything on that. Only thing that we're dealing with is the R1 and the R2 piece of property tonight, to rezone that.
Well, no, the rezoning is for our piece as well, correct? That's how I'm reading it?
No,
No?
no.
Our piece is not in there.
No.
Okay.
We've been talking back and forth with them about,
Right.
first of all, before you donate anything, we wanted to know exactly what was the value of what we were
Sure.
donating. The second thing is that property anyway could be used for the benefit of the city? So we don't want to get anything away
Correct.
for that. And the third thing is the property has a value of close to $75,000 to $100,000. That's you all's decision to make, to say if you want to be able to do that. So April and I and Rod have been vetting this project and going back and forth to see if it was worthy enough to bring that to you all to be able to give that property to them as a donation. So
Gotcha.
that's where we are. So our property is not included. I guess that's the
Right,
the moral of the story.
that's correct.
Okay. We kind of started the third round here. Councilwoman Cuellar, any other follow-up questions?
No, those are my concerns.
Okay.
The C2, because I don't want to lose out on those opportunities, and what will it do to those opportunities?
Right.
Where do you go with that? So
I understand you're talking about the potential of rezoning residential to commercial.
Right.
Gotcha. That's the opportunity you're talking about. And I
Right.
think that aligns with Councilman Sims' comments, correct, sir?
Well, the largest 2.7 acre parcel that they're, I guess, under contract with.
We have a contract, that's correct.
Which is why we're having the hearing.
Yeah. And then Councilman Box, any final questions?
I know, I'm good to go.
Okay, gotcha.
And
At
the
this-
seller did sign the application for the rezoning to I-2, just so you're aware that's his intent.
Cool. At this time, we would take any comments from the public for this rezoning. For this rezoning.
Hi, I'll speak this way. Do I need to say my name again? And
If you could, do you have them?
okay,
Okay,
so it's
please.
Michael Intervold, 4049 Hickory Circle, Irondale 35210. I'm absolutely for the rezoning. I would love to see, this is vacant land redevelopment, correct?
Yes.
No brainer. It's a benefit. There's plenty of vacant parcels for commercial all along the 78 corridor. And that Highway 78 corridor has been stagnant for a long time. So the loss of less than 3 acres of vacant land that's zoning and sitting, and you got a really good plan for make it happen. My parents bought a house here to hang out with their grandkid, and unfortunately everybody gets older, so we need good places like this. Sounds like a good place to have more, especially if they're tapped out already at 100% occupancy within 3 days. So
Okay.
I say, even though I don't know much about it, I'm for it.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. If you're for it, comments for this. Okay, come on up. Name and address, please, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Brooke Wood, 1431 Monticello Road. She did a great job of giving facts, but I wanted to give you something anecdotal to put with it. I'm a branch manager and a loan officer at a credit union, and I get 5 people right now that are in this age group that are very successful, that are retiring from the University of Alabama, and they are living in RVs. I did the loans for them because they can't find anything between 5,000 square feet and nothing. And of course, in our area, it's the same problem with starter homes, but those are being made into Airbnbs. I digress. Anyway, I'm very much for it because there's a huge need, and my feeling is if we don't offer this housing, somebody else will, and we're going to lose that income.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments for this? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Donna Pike, and my address is 440 East Ventura Drive. And I just want to say very passionately that I am for this. And I'm 70. So it's not going to be that many more years till I may be looking at somewhere and I would like to stay in my city. But another thing is, what is $75,000 to a city that could offer a great place for older people to sit and enjoy life with trees and swings and everything? Because are we overrun with those kinds of things? No. No, no, no. So I just want to say that this is a wonderful opportunity, And it's PR for y'all. Look what we did for our senior citizens. And $75,000 for a plot of land. Do you know that a lot of cities spend $75,000 for a plot of land for a green space or a park for their citizens? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments for this project? Yes, ma'am.
Get up, girl. Amen.
Hey, Nina.
Nina Nolan, 1501 Monticello. Where's the lady? There she is. I am 66. Sign me up, please, because what you are preferring with the age limit, the credit checks, the criminal background checks, I want to move in because we don't have that in my neighborhood. That would be absolutely fabulous, where I could stay, still spend my money in Irondale, still stay with my mayor, but not be scared to death. Okay?
We're gonna get on our little golf cart.
Any other comments for this rezoning? For this rezoning? Any comments against this rezoning? Comments against this rezoning? Okay, at this time, we have no additional comments. I'd accept a motion to close this public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right. So now we get to the deliberations on our agenda items. We have, let's see here. We have our consent agenda in front of us, our potential consent agenda in front of us. Item number 1, new business. Resolved that Resolution 2022 R36 terminates 4 agreements that the city has with Utility Service Company, Inc. for the inspection and maintenance of water storage tanks. Mr. Morris, do you have any comments on this? Okay.
So this is 4 contracts that we currently have with utility service. That company has been bought out, I think, twice in the last couple of years. Speaking with the mayor the other day, I think there's some better options out there that we can do. This is also a $100,000 line item. So we're planning on going ahead, if this passes tonight, go ahead and get some specs wrote, bid it out, and then hopefully have this ready to roll out in October. So hopefully we'll be able to save that $100,000 this year, back up and punt, get a more manageable maintenance contract that I think better suits the city and for what we need.
Okay. Councilman Lennon, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
I'm just curious, when was the last inspections of the tanks?
Last year.
Perfect. And no questions for myself. Thank you, sir. Under new business, item number 2, resolve that Resolution 2022 R37 authorizes the naming of the ceramic room at the Irondale Senior Center as the Bonnie Ruth Fielding Ceramic Room in honor of the late Miss Bonnie Ruth Fielding. Councilman Lennon, any questions on this?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
I think it's great.
Fantastic. Myself as well. All right. Third item under new business, resolve the Resolution 2022 R38 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. to execute a memorandum of understanding between the Jefferson County Commission and the City of Irondale regarding debris removal and monitoring services in the event of a disaster. I understand this to be a renewal of a current contract, but Mayor, would you care to inform us on any additional details?
No, it's a renewal that we've had with Jefferson County. I want to say this contract, the reason that the county decided to do this, because I can't remember where that there was a tornado that came through, and because there was not a contract in place, they had to delay picking up debris until they could finally work everything out. The reason that they put this together, it allows all of the municipalities to participate. So in the event that we have a disaster here in the city of Irondale, we do not have to go through that process. We can just use the individuals that they have already vetted to be able to do that for us.
Understood. Councilman Lennon, any questions on that?
None.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
None, I got all my questions answered.
Okay. Councilman Box?
Ditto with Councilman Cuellar.
Councilman Sims? Okay, and myself, none. All right. Moving forward onto our regular agenda, our unfinished item, which would be number 4, ordain that ordinance 2022-2 modifies Chapter 5 Business Regulations, adding Article 9 entitled Short-Term Rentals to the Irondale Municipal Code, repeals all ordinances and parts of the ordinances of the City of Irondale in conflict therewith, and terminates the moratorium placed on the short-term rentals in residential zoning districts within the City of Irondale, enacted on January 24th of 22 through Resolution 2022 R15. I know we've received a...
We want to do the consent agenda?
I figured we'd go ahead and deliberate all the items because there's a couple, thank you for that. There's a couple other items that might be able to be moved off the regular onto consent. Thank you for that. I know we've received a lot of feedback. I've received a ton. Thank y'all. First of all, we asked for the feedback and we got it, so we appreciate that. So at this time, I know there's still probably some deliberation we need to do on this. Councilman London, your thoughts on this, and let me pause for a second. There was some feedback, some emails, some points to consider that was brought to our city attorney, Ms. April, and there were some adjustments that were made. There was some language that was made a little bit more consistent. The draft that we have in front of us right now does remove the sprinkler system and adds, so from the fire protection in the proposed rental, it removes the sprinkler system and substitutes that with fire extinguishers. So that is one thing that's been added. But the spirit of the ordinance has not really changed much in regards to defining owner-occupied, defining non-owner occupied, and then the short-term rentals that are allowed therein. So the spirit has not changed much, just some of the language and that one piece of criteria. So we are basically kind of starting from scratch since we made adjustments and it's an ordinance. Councilman London, any questions?
Well, just not necessarily a question, just comment. Just been very conflicted with this ordinance, and I've heard you speak, and you know, in the incident that happened, as I began to think about my 5-year-old granddaughter and my 2-year-old grandson who stays with me right now, and if this would have happened to them, how would I feel? I wouldn't be very happy right now. I just wouldn't be very happy knowing that someone who doesn't care about my house, my family, you know, no one has been charged with anything. Even the owners of this house haven't been charged or taking responsibility for anything that's happened. But they seem to put it back on our citizens. So that disturbed me a little bit for the past week, a couple of weeks, to get back to this announcement. You know, and at this point, personally, I'm not even for having these in our neighborhoods. Because I don't want someone living next to me who doesn't live in the house themselves and just rent it out to someone that I have no idea who they are. With my 2-year-old grandson and my 4-year-old granddaughter. So at this moment, I'm not for it at all. Now, council, you can decide kind of what you want to do, but at this point, this is from my heart, how I feel. And I'm gonna have to be the guy that go lay down in my bed, thinking about what happened to these families, children lying on the floor, bullets in the house, bullets in the car, and nobody has taken responsibility for that. That's my comments.
Yes, sir. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank the community for all of the feedback they gave us. We received several emails, and we certainly took all of these into account, met with our city attorney, because there was concern with the language, the way that it was written, and these things were fine-tuned to where it was clear, there was no ambiguity involved, but it's very clear. And I'm very grateful to her and her assistant for making these things possible. I like what it says here about the fact that if you're going to do this and you're going to do it for less than 30 days, then you need to live on that property. Because if you don't live, you have absolutely no interest in your neighbors and what's going on there. If you live there, you're gonna be worried about your kids that live in your house and have someone else in your house. So it does have the teeth that it needs to make sure that we are taking the safety of our residents into account. So I was very pleased with that. I think the change in moving that to sprinklers, moving from sprinklers to fire extinguishers. I myself don't have a sprinkler system in my house, but I do have fire extinguishers, and I don't think that's unreasonable to ask that be in there. But I just want to thank the residents for all of your feedback. It did not fall on deaf ears. We took those things, we put them in this ordinance. We gave you the opportunity to see it when we posted it on the city's Facebook page, on the website, as well as my own. I put it on my own Facebook page so that everybody would have a chance to give their feedback. And I want to thank you for that feedback. And again, I want to thank our attorney, our two team members that we have here that enabled us to come up with this. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Councilman Box.
Well, hearing two impassioned speeches is always good, and healthy debate is always good. So my personal opinion lines up with Councilman London, but I would like to, if it's appropriate, see what the city attorney actually says. I don't think that we have a venue to not have any businesses that may already be in business. So we're back to our ordinance as it is, and maybe a little explanation from her if that's appropriate for everyone.
So you have a specific question for legal?
Yes, I'd like for her to, in layman's terms, let us know the definition of owner-occupied and short-term rentals versus the corporate rentals that don't have someone living there, so that everybody, maybe everybody already does understand, but I don't, and that's where, like I said, my personal opinion is there with Councilman London. A professional opinion knows that there's legal ramifications all across the board.
There's a definition in the ordinance that actually classifies a short-term commercial rental as a rental in a residential area where the owner does not live there. There is another definition in the ordinance which, classifies a short-term residential rental as a rental in a residential district in which the owner does live there. Under this ordinance, there are no short-term commercial rentals for less than 30 days. So if you have a short-term commercial rental that you are like renting it for 30 days or like longer, then it would not be affected by this particular ordinance. If you are renting and you are an owner-occupied, residential rental, then you would fall within this ordinance if you also rented less than 30 days or, 29 days or less.
Very good.
Does that answer your question?
It answers mine and hopefully helps help more people understand as well. I did like a lot of the comments on increasing the actual fees of the business license or fees for it, and even the occupancy tax coming in on this, if that's appropriate. That's something that you would have to advise us on as well. But other than that, those are my comments.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
I don't think it's good. I mean, I don't know what lawmaker creates perfect law. So there's things I don't like about this. I've got emails on either side. I've got emails that people think is too strict. I've got emails that think it needs to be stricter. I think some parts need to be more strict, some needs to be a little bit looser. But we have no rules, before. I'm prepared to pass this as it is, just as a starting point, because I think we need some regulation. And I don't think it's the perfect thing, but we're never gonna get there. So I feel like we need to get something established and then tweak it from there versus just not having anything at the moment.
Fair enough. Just to be stated publicly, we do, to Councilman London's point, because part of my thought pattern definitely aligns with his. I'm very split on this. We do have the power to eliminate these rentals completely. Is that accurate?
That is correct. From a legal basis, there are cities who have said that they will have no short-term rentals.
Do we face any litigation issues with any corporations that have bought homes that are currently using them as, well, were currently using them as Airbnbs that would no longer, if we eliminated them completely, are we opening ourselves for any litigation in that standpoint?
That I can't say because anybody can sue for anything at any time.
Yeah, of course. I guess I was saying a lawsuit that might actually make sense, but understood. Thank you so much. So we have an option to attempt to pass this tonight. It is a revised ordinance, so it would have to go through the three-part motion. So we can go ahead and see how far this goes as it's presented. The only real modification that's been brought to us was from Councilman London, which was just to abolish them completely. Everybody else, I think, is okay with the adjustments based on the comments. So we can go ahead and take this through the process if you would like, or we can, we still have plenty of time under our moratorium. We can contemplate this for another 2 weeks. I am open to the movement of the body. Would y'all like to go ahead and take this through the process? Anybody?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay.
There was one other comment that I wanted to make in regard to some comments I received about increasing the fee to $150. It's actually $200. So we actually increased it more than what we were asked to do. It's $200. And that's every year. It's not just a one-time. So I wanted to make sure that I noted that as well.
Understood.
Councilman Spivey.
So Councilwoman, yes, ma'am.
There was another question as well as to whether or not these rentals would be subject to the city's current lodging tax, and the answer to that is that yes, under the ordinances as written, there would actually need to be no amendment for these to be subject to.
So Councilwoman Cuellar has asked that we go ahead and consider this evening. Okay. So we are done with the deliberations on that. All right. Moving into item number 5 under new business. Resolve the resolution 2022 R39 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with United Way Area Agency on Aging of Jefferson County administered through the Community Partnership of Alabama, Inc. in the amount of $5,000. This is a budgeted item. Any questions on this item, Councilman London?
No, sir.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
No question.
No questions for myself either. I would propose that this item be moved to the consent agenda. Okay?
I agree.
Outstanding, thank you. Item number 6, resolve the resolution 2022 R40 authorizes the donation of $2,500 to Grantswood Community School for use by Mrs. Andrea Riley in her classroom in honor of her award as the Jefferson County Board of Education Teacher of the Year finalist. This also has a funding source from our educational line item. Councilman London, any questions here?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Just clarification, is it educational or community programs?
Mayor, I believe you said it was coming from the
This one is education, the Meals
Okay.
on Wheels was community program.
Right, okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Box?
No question.
Okay, Councilman Sims? And myself, no questions. I would also propose that item number 6 be moved to the consent agenda. Do we have some nods on that?
Yes.
Okay, outstanding. Okay. Consent check, consent check. Item number 7, resolve that resolution 2022 R41 authorizes the donation of $2,500 to Irondale Middle School for use by Miss Yana Mills in her classroom in honor of her award as a Jefferson County Board of Education Teacher of the Year finalist. Same funding source. Any questions, Councilman London?
No, sir.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No question.
And myself, no questions. I would make the same proposal that we move item number 7 to the consent agenda.
Yes.
Everyone? Perfect, thank you. All right. Item number 8, resolve that resolution 2022 R42 authorizes the donation of $2,500 to Shades Valley High School for the use by Miss Ivy Bishop in her classroom in honor of her award as a Jefferson County Board of Education Teacher of the Year finalist. Once again, same funding source as the prior two. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims? Myself, none as well. I would make the fourth ask that we would move that to consent.
Yes.
Everybody's good? All right, cool.
Yes.
All right. Item number 9, resolve the resolution 2022 R43 allocates $300,000 to the implementation, $300,000 to the implementation of the City of Irondale ADA transition plan. Mayor, would you walk us through that a little bit?
3 or 4 years ago, we were required by law to create a ADA transition plan, which means that we have to bring our sidewalks in compliance to make sure that individuals that have disabilities, we meet that to allow them to be able to use our sidewalks just like anybody else could be able to use them. We also received a sidewalk grant from ALDOT for $860,000. It was an 80-20 match. The city has $160,000 that we have to put towards that grant. The reason that I'm recommending $300,000 for the implementation of the transition plan, we would use $160,000 to go towards the TAP grant. We would use the additional $140,000 to be able to upgrade the sidewalks in the city of Irondale. The funding source for this particular resolution is through our American Rescue Plan, and I gave you the balance for that when we had our Finance Committee meeting.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman McQuarrie?
No questions.
Councilman Box? Councilman Sims? And myself, no questions. Deviating from the previous 4 requests, it was recommended that we go ahead, and even though it is a resolution, that we go ahead and take this through the ordinance process, even though there is a funding source. All right. Item number 10, Resolution 2022 R44 increases the city portion of the local government health insurance premium for retirees to 80%, with the retiree paying 20% for such premium. Councilman London, any questions on that?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
I had questions, the mayor answered most of them. There was one you were gonna get back with me on.
20,000.
20,000, very good, thank you, Mayor. No other questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Box?
That answered my questions.
Fair enough. And Councilman Sims?
No question.
Myself, no questions. All right, we will go ahead and take that resolution through the ordinance. That has a funding source, correct, Mayor?
Basically, it'll be paid out of the general fund when we remit our payments to the state for the LGIP.
Okay.
I think that's LGIP.
We'll go ahead and take that through the ordinance process. All right, item number 11, resolve that resolution 2022 R45 confirms the city council's concurrence for the approval of the amended preliminary plat plan to review the amended special use plan and permits for the Planning and Zoning Commission. We'll go ahead. We've already had our deliberations on that public hearing, as we have on item number 12. So that being said, that finishes all deliberations. Make sure I'm not missing anything on the back of a page. At this point, I would ask for the approval of the form of the agenda.
Motion to approve the form of the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All right, all in favor? Aye. Based on the consent agenda, with some of the movements that we have, I would accept the motion for the consent agenda to be approved with the additions.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with items number 1, 2, 3, and adding items number 5, 6, 7, and 8 from new business to the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let me catch up. Okay. So to our first piece of unfinished business, if someone could take us through the process for the ordinance of 2022-02. I'm sorry, one moment. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I just kept right on trucking, didn't I? All right, perfect. All right, at this time, we would accept comments on agenda items only. Thank you, legal. All right, these would be comments on agenda items only. We have no comments on agenda items only. Fair enough? All right. If someone would take us through the process on ordinance 22-02.
I make a motion that ordinance 2022-02 be considered read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2022-02.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Finally?
I make a motion that ordinance 20-22, 2022-02 be approved and adopted.
We have a motion. We have a second from Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay. Moving on to item number 9. If someone could go ahead and introduce Resolution 2022-R43 using the ordinance process.
Make a motion that resolution 2022-R43 be considered read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion we suspend all rules that prevent the immediate consideration of resolution 2022-R43.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. And finally?
Finally, I make a motion that resolution 2022-R43 be adopted and approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? Okay, that item carries. Item number 10, ordinance process for resolution 2022-R44, please.
I make a motion that resolution 2022-R-40 be considered read.
44.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It happens. All right, our second piece of our process, please, sir.
43, correct?
We're working on 44, yes, sir.
All right. All right. Make a motion we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of resolution 2022-R-44.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, sir.
Make a motion we adopt ordinance resolution 2022-R-44 be approved and adopted.
Second.
So, okay, motion and a second. Roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims? And myself, yes. And finally, sir?
I'll make a motion that resolution 2022-R-44 be approved and adopted.
All right, motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. That item carries. Ordinance process for 2022-R45, please.
Make a motion that resolution 2022-R45 be considered read.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion we suspend all rules that prevent the immediate passage or consideration of ordinance 2022-R45.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. And finally, sir?
And finally, I make a motion that ordinance 2022-R45 be adopted and approved.
All right. Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. No opposed? No opposed. Motion carries. And item number 12.
I make a motion that ordinance number 2022-03 be considered read.
We have a motion. We have a second. Seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Well, let me go back. I'm sorry. I know on 11.
I'm
no
sorry?
11. I'm no on 11.
Your no on which part of
Special
11?
use plan. That's the special use plan.
I'm sorry?
No.
Item number
sorry.
45,
No,
item
I'm good.
number 11, R45 was the replatting of the.
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good on that one?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. So we're not
Yeah.
rescinding that vote? Okay. Moving on to item number 12. I believe we had a motion and a second on 12 for the first stage?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The second stage.
I make a motion we suspend all rules that prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance number 2022-03.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No.
No. Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. We will pick that up at a later date. Okay. That item did not pass. Item 13 was not necessary to review tonight. That concludes our agenda. At this time, we would take any comments to the council on non-agenda items. Non-agenda items. We have no comments to the council. With a room this packed, no comments on any.
You've got some coming.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, come on up.
Any of my heritage folks, now.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that I was coming into such a long meeting, so I'll make it quick, and I'm the one who asked for an extra 30 seconds.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm presenting to, don't laugh at me.
Can we get your name and address before you start?
Do I still face them?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we get your name and address before you start?
Certainly.
Thank you.
My name is Sandy Colvin, 1530 Heritage Place
Thank
Drive. Okay? To make it brief, I'm just going to read this, okay? And I do not know anything about city government at all. I'm going to leave that to you guys. But what I do know is you can't have something you don't ask for, okay? We, the residents of Heritage Place, would like to ask the city to allow us to partner with them in order to purchase the property located at 1521 Heritage Place Drive. We feel a unique park would add great value to the city. The benefit and justification for purchasing this property to be used for a park would include our vision for this park is a fitness trail to birth a health initiative for our community. A fitness trail would consist of a series of stations that are installed along a route. The users would run, walk, or jog from station to station, performing exercises along the way. Number two, there is not a park on this side of town, being the Heritage Place area, for the residents that live on the outskirts of the city to utilize. The trail could be left unpaved for hiking and cross-country purposes. That would be a wonderful experience. Our ideas are the entrance to the trailhead could be something simple and rustic, similar to a photo that was attached in, I'll back up and say this has kind of been a long idea of mine and our community. The mayor and Councilman Box, representing 4, do have this proposal from me and our neighbors and a slew of pictures and links for you guys. And I do have a copy of the proposal that I'll leave with you, okay? The fitness trail, a fitness trail would consist of whatever distance is feasible on the property. It could wind horizontally or vertically from street level to peak height, where we propose you find a quiet meditation spot that the area could use. Again, photos of the area are attached. The trail itself would welcome visitors to outdoor exercise equipment located in equally split distance throughout the trail. For example, if your trail winds 1.5 miles, 2 stations located every quarter mile would be 12 pieces of equipment, such as exampled in the photos in the email. I do have links in the email of an outdoor fitness company that does such things, some that are around our area, and also a supply company that will actually assist in laying out endurance courses of such types. We as residents do understand that if we are allowed to partner with the city in a purchase like this, that it could and would be assessed in our property tax. Jefferson Christian Academy is located directly across the street from the property that I'm speaking about, along with 3 estate lots. Jefferson Christian has representatives here tonight. I'm going to sidebar just for a sec. I did tell them I hate that they have to come and listen to all the great things y'all do for our school that they can't take part of legally. But they do have a cross-country team that could utilize this. Right now, they run on our streets. Now, we do have a safe, quiet neighborhood, but nonetheless, it's children running on the street. So that would be a great thing that they could utilize. Our elementary principal is here tonight, and the kids there could go over. They could learn about nature. They could have their quiet time. That's all for you guys to decide later. But all that to be said, I think a fitness trail would be something that is unique to the city. And in combo with that idea, there is a second proposal and possibly a combination project. The use of a trail system like that could also be used to lay out a disc golf course. This particular sport is becoming very, very popular. Trussville, Inverness, Alabaster, Calera, Pinson, and George Ward Park all currently have disc golf courses. Schools are developing groups and teams, and Birmingham now has a local disc golf shop. Events are run on most full-size courses. We do have a new Irondale resident. His name is Jason Barksdale. He is the ambassador for Iron City Disc, and they have already talked to me, and so they'd be happy to assist in the development of such a course. Again, all those details are in the email that I sent. We are serious about this, and we hope that you guys will take it under consideration. Again, I don't know how all this works, but I do know that I have to at least bring it up so that you guys know that we're willing to do that and take part with you to better our city. And I did want to show you one little thing to show you how serious we are. We have a local graphic designer that lives actually in Heritage Park. We've even designed a logo if you guys want to use it. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here with you, or who, David, do you want this?
I'll take it off
Okay.
hands, yeah.
All right, and obviously,
Thank you.
like I said, Councilman Box and the mayor have this, and if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
a great
I know there's
candidate for
something
your
we want to talk about later.
What are,
Yes.
Councilwoman
I
Quayle?
would like for us to go back to the ordinance process for item number 12. I wanted my no to be when we got to the third stage of the process, because I don't want Ms. Wilkinson to have to come back 2 weeks later to represent. So if we can please go back through the process.
You can just change it. You just
Can we
change it.
change it to the third process? My second part, where we vote in favor that we suspend all rules,
Mm-hmm.
that
So
would be
the
a
first,
yes?
the first process was completed.
Yes, and the second
The
process.
second
would
one
be-
you were a no on, which
I want to
ended the
change that
item.
to a yes,
Okay,
and then the third process would be a no,
okay,
okay?
gotcha.
So we never made it through the third process?
We never got to the
Right,
third process
so I want us to
because,
get to the third
Okay,
process.
so we're
Okay.
just kind of doing a rewind, if that's acceptable.
is that acceptable legal? For her to amend her vote after deliberation and voting?
If she chooses to change her vote, she can do that.
Gotcha.
And so.
Do
so,
we need to
yes.
start the whole process over for cleanness, or we just pick up at number 3?
I mean, it would be up to y'all for cleanliness, just to
Start it over.
ensure that Lee has the appropriate
Okay.
yeses and nos. It would be better just to start over
Okay.
that process.
We will come back to our public comments in a second. We just want to take care of this real quick.
Thank you.
All right, absolutely.
All right, very good.
Item number 12.
All right, I make a motion that ordinance number 2022-03 be considered read.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that we suspend all rules and prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance number 2022 R 03.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes,
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Finally,
And finally, I make a motion that ordinance number 2022-03 be approved and adopted.
we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
no.
Thank you. Okay. Back to public comments on non-agenda items. Any other comments on non-agenda items this evening?
Council President, can I say one thing before you close?
Sure, you can.
Since they're here. I just wanted to let everybody know on Montevallo Road and Monticello, I had a calming study done on you all's road to determine the amount of traffic that flows within a 24 hours and to see if there was anything that engineering needed to do to address the problem. And it came back a negative, so there's nothing that we need to do. So you won't be getting any speed humps, bumps, or breakers, or anything like that, because the study determined that there wasn't a need for it. But we will do some restriping at 15th Street, right there where you go across the street from the school. We will put a raise the intersection a little bit right there. But other than that, you all's road is fine. So I just wanted to let you know that I did do that study to see if there was an issue with traffic on you all's road. I know the day I came out there when the shooting took place, I mean, cars were kind of flying through there like it was the Talladega Super Speedway. So that's why I did that. But anybody in the city of Irondale, if you're having traffic problems on your street, we should have a policy or resolution at the next council meeting that will allow you to fill out a form if you want a calming study to be able to be done on your road. I'm actually going to name it after Miss Roscoe. That's sitting back there in the back, because she's the one that started the whole thing about making sure the engineers check the roads and stuff like that. So I just wanted to let you all know since you were here tonight.
Okay.
I don't have anything else.
All right, and finally, before we close, last opportunity, any comments to the council on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Luann Butts. I reside at 1522 Montevallo Road in Irondale. And first of all, Mr. London, I'd like to thank you for what you said about the situation on Monticello. My daughter lives on Monticello, along with these other awesome people. And I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, it's something to get a call from your child saying, can you come help me? Something's wrong. They're shooting. I'm scared I'm gonna die, basically. And she hid under a table until she felt like it was safe enough to come out. This has happened in this situation, and it's gonna happen again. So my question to you guys, is there a way to not only vet the owners of these properties that are renting, is there a way to possibly vet the people that are coming in to do the actual rental and stay in that property as well? I don't know. I don't know which direction to go, but I know that we need your help.
I would say that the city would not be vetting the renters in these situations. Most of the vetting is the third-party agency that the landowner rents through. Would you agree with me, Legal?
And if you have an owner-occupied unit, you know, there, you are going to have people there who have a vested interest in ensuring that the people that do come in, you know, are people that are going to keep them safe as well.
Right.
That would be my thought on that,
Right.
as far as
But
the
there are
vetting
some
process.
properties still that are not owner occupied at the time the rentals are taking place. Is that correct?
Those would be longer-term rentals. Those would be over 30 days.
Okay.
So they would not, basically, this ordinance was actually drafted to correct the issues that, you know, had been experienced, you know, so that there would not be someone who came in and rented for a Saturday night so that they could have a party. You know, this would allow, basically, if somebody is going to rent, there would be an owner-occupied, you know, dwelling there.
Perfect. All right, thank you very much for your time, and thank you,
You're
ladies and gentlemen, for everything you're doing for us.
Thanks.
Any other comments on non-agenda items at this time? I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you very much.